At Lode and AM, 30 drunk strangers hammered my Marina gate with crowbars while their leaders screamed ownership claims that weren't legally hers. Steel clanged violently against my newly installed lock, echoing across calm water as beer bottles floated like confetti from their reckless overnight dock invasion. Karen Whitmore shrieked about common property rights, unaware she was challenging the one man who had just uncovered she didn't own any of it. The smell of alcohol, vomit, and entitlement hung thick as coastal fog while her guests stumbled around docks they had absolutely no right to use. 6 months earlier, I believed buying this waterfront townhouse meant peaceful retirement after 25 years. Enforcing maritime law across unpredictable, often dangerous waters. Morning coffee, osprey hunting, and quiet water had replaced chaos, until Karen introduced herself like a storm that never stopped circling vulnerable coastlines. She carried authority like a weapon, using tenants as voting pawns, manipulating rules, controlling every decision through intimidation disguised as community leadership. Memorial Day weekend exposed everything when her yacht party guests occupied every slip, damaging property and treating private docks like disposable public entertainment zones. My docks suffered burns, stains, and broken hardware while Karen dismissed it casually, mispronouncing my name and suggesting insurance should clean up her mess. That moment shifted everything inside me from passive retiree to investigator, activating instincts forged through decades of tracking smugglers and maritime criminals. I reviewed governing documents, statutes, and property definitions, discovering inconsistencies that didn't align with Karen's claimed authority over marina access and ownership. The deeper I dug, the clearer it became. Karen wasn't just abusing power. She was operating under completely fabricated authority with zero legal foundation. Her Marina social enhancement plan demanded surrender of dock rights while threatening inspections, revealing a strategy of control masked as community improvement initiatives. That announcement tasted like combat because I recognized the pattern: break resistance, centralize authority, and exploit confusion to extract control and financial benefit. While she celebrated dominance, I examined financial statements, noticing irregularities in maintenance funds, insurance payments, and suspicious vendor relationships spanning several years. Paper trails told stories criminals couldn't hide, and Karen's records screamed manipulation, diversion, and carefully structured deception designed to appear legitimate at first glance. Then she escalated by installing electronic gate locks, controlling access codes, and quietly restricting my entry during weekends when her parties dominated marina operations. That was her mistake, because controlling access meant claiming authority, and claiming authority meant exposing herself to legal verification she couldn't survive. I installed a mechanical lock alongside her system, creating equal access rights that she couldn't legally remove without exposing her lack of jurisdiction. Friday night, her party convoy arrived expecting compliance, only to face a locked gate that didn't respond to her digital control. Her reaction exploded instantly, demanding removal, threatening consequences, and exposing her reliance on intimidation rather than actual legal standing or authority. I calmly requested documented approval for the event, forcing silence that stretched painfully while her guests shifted uncomfortably behind her collapsing authority. That silence was louder than any argument, because it revealed she had nothing: no approvals, no rights, no legal basis for her control. Her party relocated awkwardly, and that night Dolores, a quiet neighbor, delivered years of documented evidence exposing Karen's pattern of violations and financial misconduct. Dolores had been watching carefully, collecting records, waiting for the right moment to expose a system built on manipulation and fear. Together, we analyzed everything, uncovering missing funds, fake expenses, and procedural violations that transformed suspicion into undeniable evidence of long-term corruption. Legal pressure followed quickly, and Karen's aggressive stance shifted into silence as her confidence cracked under formal challenges she couldn't easily dismiss. But she adapted fast, launching new tactics aimed at economic pressure through rental restrictions designed to target anyone opposing her authority. She scheduled critical votes during a hurricane evacuation, ensuring minimal attendance while pushing illegal proxy votes through manipulated procedures. I recorded everything, capturing violations that invalidated her decisions and strengthened our case against her growing pattern of abuse. Meanwhile, financial analysis uncovered something deeper: systematic embezzlement, hidden beneath routine maintenance and insurance charges. Funds had been redirected into companies linked to her family, creating a network of financial extraction disguised as legitimate operational expenses. The scale shocked even me, because this wasn't small corruption. It was organized, consistent, and carefully disguised over multiple years. Community awareness grew quickly once evidence surfaced, transforming passive neighbors into active participants demanding answers and accountability. Karen responded with intimidation, issuing violation notices against dissenters while ignoring identical issues within her own properties. That selective enforcement became another weapon against her, proving bias and strengthening legal arguments against her actions. Legal countermeasures escalated, forcing her to retreat temporarily while our coalition expanded and her support base began to fracture visibly. And she launched her most desperate move, fabricating an insurance crisis to pressure removal of my lock through fear-based manipulation. A single phone call destroyed her claim, confirming no such issue existed and exposing her attempt as deliberate misinformation. That discovery opened a larger investigation into insurance fraud, involving inflated premiums and redirected funds, benefiting her personal network. Federal implications became unavoidable, and contact with investigators initiated a process that extended far beyond neighborhood disputes. Then came the breaking point. Security cameras captured Karen attempting to destroy my lock in the middle of the night using bolt cutters. The footage was undeniable, showing her committing criminal acts against property she had no authority over, confirming everything we suspected. Charges followed quickly, and the community reaction shifted from suspicion to outrage, as her actions became impossible to defend or ignore. Investigations expanded rapidly, uncovering financial trails that connected multiple fraudulent activities across years of unchecked control. Media attention amplified pressure, exposing the story beyond our community and accelerating accountability processes already underway. Then we discovered the truth that changed everything. The Marina was never under HOA control at all. Original documents revealed independent trust ownership, completely separate from association authority, invalidating Karen's entire foundation of control. Even more shocking, I had been designated successor trustee, granting me legal authority over Marina operations she had claimed for years. That revelation flipped the power dynamic instantly, turning her into someone who had been operating illegally from the beginning. Every fee she collected became theft, every restriction became unlawful, and every decision became evidence against her expanding legal exposure. Financial implications multiplied quickly, with restitution, penalties, and damages reaching amounts far beyond her ability to recover or conceal. Community outrage intensified as homeowners realized they had been manipulated, controlled, and financially exploited for nearly a decade. Legal strategy shifted from defense to full-scale offensive, combining civil recovery, criminal prosecution, and governance restructuring simultaneously. Evidence collection became exhaustive, tracing every transaction and documenting every violation to build an airtight case. Federal coordination expanded, integrating multiple agencies investigating financial crimes connected to her activities. Meanwhile, Karen escalated into desperation, launching smear campaigns, false accusations, and intimidation tactics targeting anyone opposing her authority. Her actions became increasingly erratic, including vandalism, harassment, and attempts to destroy evidence already secured by investigators. Each action only added charges, strengthening the case while revealing her inability to control the situation she created. Her support collapsed completely as remaining allies distanced themselves from behavior that was now clearly criminal and unsustainable. Final preparations focused on public exposure, ensuring evidence would be presented transparently with legal and media presence. Community anticipation built steadily, knowing the confrontation would determine whether justice or corruption would define our future. The meeting room filled beyond capacity with residents, media, and law enforcement all present for what was about to unfold. Karen opened confidently, attempting to control the narrative, unaware the evidence waiting would dismantle everything she claimed. When my turn came, financial records displayed undeniable proof of systematic theft, shocking the room into stunned silence. Then the trust documents appeared, proving she never had authority over the Marina she controlled for 8 years. Chaos erupted as reality replaced illusion, and her control shattered in front of everyone she once intimidated. Federal agents stepped forward, serving charges that confirmed the criminal scope of her actions beyond any doubt. Her meltdown unfolded publicly, accusations flying, but evidence overwhelmed every denial she attempted to make. She was escorted out in handcuffs, ending years of control in a single moment of undeniable accountability. The community reacted with relief, anger, and unity, finally free from the system that had controlled them through fear. Legal processes moved quickly, supported by overwhelming documentation and coordinated investigations across multiple jurisdictions. Karen accepted a plea deal, facing prison time rather than risking far greater consequences through trial. Financial recovery returned stolen funds, including penalties and damages that restored community losses accumulated over years. Her professional licenses were revoked, preventing future exploitation of similar positions of trust and authority. Governance was rebuilt with transparency, accountability, and safeguards ensuring no individual could gain unchecked control again. Independent audits, open records, and proper voting procedures replaced manipulation and secrecy that enabled previous corruption. Marina restoration began using recovered funds, repairing damage neglected during years of financial diversion. Security systems were upgraded legitimately, providing protection rather than control mechanisms disguised as safety measures. Community relationships strengthened through shared experience, transforming division into cooperation and mutual respect. Property values increased as stability returned, attracting buyers who valued transparency and proper governance. Personally, the experience reshaped my retirement, replacing quiet isolation with meaningful leadership and community impact. My background found purpose again, not in enforcement alone, but in protecting people from systemic abuse. The case gained attention beyond our neighborhood, inspiring investigations and reforms in other communities facing similar issues. Legal precedents strengthened homeowner protections, reducing opportunities for future abuse within association structures. Educational outreach expanded, helping others recognize warning signs and understand their rights before damage escalates. Our community became a model for recovery, demonstrating how knowledge and persistence can overcome entrenched corruption. Annual events now celebrate resilience, reminding everyone what happens when people stand together against abuse of power. The Marina returned to what it was meant to be: peaceful, shared, and respected by those who truly own it. Morning routines resumed, but with awareness that peace requires vigilance and understanding of legal protections. The lessons extended beyond property, reinforcing the importance of questioning authority that lacks transparency. Karen's legacy became a warning, not a victory, proof that unchecked control inevitably collapses under truth. Every sunrise now represents stability earned through action, not granted by systems vulnerable to manipulation. The community thrives because people understand their rights and refuse to surrender them to convenience or intimidation. What began as a retirement dream nearly lost became a defining battle that restored more than just property ownership. And every time I unlock that gate, I remember real ownership isn't claimed loudly, it's proven quietly when challenged.